Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden, which some of you might happen to know is home to Brekeriet, who are a specialist sour beer brewery, and today we've got quite an interesting beer from these guys. This one is the Queenäs Quad. It's a 13% barley wine ale and they've added raspberries and blueberries during the second fermentation in this one, so it should be really nice. It's actually a bit lower rated in comparison to some of the other Brekeriet beers. This guy had 76 overall on Rate Beer, but Brekeriet are one of these breweries that I found their beers do tend to be rated a bit low on Rate Beer for some reason, lower than I would rate them if I'd actually did rate beers, of course. But I'm really interested to try this one and see how it comes out. I think this should be a really quite nice, sharp and tart kind of barley wine, so it will be something a little bit different. And of course, when you're reviewing close to 1,000 beers, you know, that's exactly what you want. You still want things that are going to challenge your palate and be a little bit different for you, and I thought this beer would be a really good precursor for review number 1000, which you'll see tomorrow. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. But as always with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Brekeriet reviews I've done before. No doubt I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography tagging system. So if you go into the homepage, you can search for beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you before, and that is constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially some of the Swedish stuff that I might not have heard of. But the support you give the channel is always hugely appreciated. It's always great to hear from you guys because you've always got interesting things to say, so don't hesitate to get in touch through the Twitter Untappd and all of these sort of things. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brekeriet then. So as I've told you before, Brekeriet were originally based in Djurslöv, just outside Malmo, but they are now primarily based in Landskrona, which is maybe about 15 minutes or so to the north of me here in Lund. But the company was founded back in 2011 by the Ek brothers. This is Fredrik, Christian and Andre, and it's a specialist brewery in wild beers, and they use Brettanomyces for this. And they were actually the first brewery in Sweden to start this, and I think to date they are the only kind of, maybe apart from Temple and I think also Satipoja as well, they specialise in in sour beers too, but whether that's the only thing they do, I really couldn't tell you. But Brekeriet were the first one of these kind of wave of sour beer breweries. But the original brewery is based in the old brew house in Djurslöv, which was actually an old commune brewery for the local farmers. But they brewed their first beers there in 2012, and this brewery actually had quite a modest capacity of only 500 litres per brew, and this gave them an annual or yearly capacity of 38,000 litres. But as of 2015, they've moved to a new brewery in Landskrona, which can now produce 20 hectolitres per brew, and they now have a fermentation capacity of about 80 hectolitres as well. So apparently they produce their wild bunch beers continuously in Landskrona, but they brew the sour patch and speciality one-off beers down in Djurslöv, which, if I'm remembering rightly, is a little bit out to the east of Malmö. But in 2014, this brewery actually caused quite a bit of a stir because they withdrew completely from the Systembolaget kind of sortie, if you like, in Sweden, and they cited bureaucracy with the nationalised beer system as being a major hindrance to them. So they were actually only exporting their beer for a period of time. I could buy these beers over in Copenhagen, but not actually in Sweden, even though they were a very, very local brewery to me. But although as of early 2016, they did actually kind of repent with that, and they brought their beers back into Sweden, which of course is good because their beers are pretty damn good. So I do wonder if Systembolaget kind of relaxed the guidelines, or if Brekeriet just kind of were able to meet the guidelines a bit better. But they produce some really awesome beers, and if you like your sour ales, then these guys are a brewery that you definitely want to have a go at. Some of the beers I've tried from these guys have been really quite funky and really interesting. They're very experimental, so if you enjoy your sour beers, have a go of some of the Brekeriet ones. I know you can get these beers in the UK. I'm not sure about America and Australia and things like that, but they are fairly widely available throughout Europe these days, so have a go at them if you get the chance. But yeah, that's enough about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I mentioned to you, this guy is a 13% barley wine. They've added raspberries and blueberries during the secondary fermentation. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. You can see it is quite simple. It just tells you a little bit there. An intense and flavourful barley wine. Raspberries and blueberries are added during the secondary fermentation to further enhance the taste of the beer. This kind of B that you have here, of course, is the standard symbol for Brekeriet, and it says this one, I guess, was brewed in Landskrona. Brewed and bottled by the three Ek brothers, Brekeriet Beer AB So yeah, 13% barley wine ale. Doesn't have a best before date on it actually. As far, oh no, it does. It says yeah, best before the 4th of August 2021, bottled in August 2016. So this beer is about 6 months old when I'm reviewing it for you, which is a kind of ideal aging time for a barley wine, although you can age them a little bit longer than that. But yeah, let's get this guy open then and we'll get on with the tasting. There is the standard Brekeriet bottle cap on this one. So without further ado then, let's open this guy up. Yeah, nice smoky opening on this one. We are going to get a little bit of foam. Yeah, just need to be careful with the head on this one as we pour it. Yeah, but as you can see, it looks very, very nice actually. You can see that nice pink head on it. It's absolutely lovely. We'll just leave a little bit in the bottle and let the beer settle a wee bit. I think that's going to fade away and there'll be no head on this virtually. But it should be really nice. So if I hold this beer up to the light, it's actually a really dark red kind of sort of very, very dark ruby colour. There's a few little bits of sediment visible in this one just floating around there. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass of course, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there, but overall it does look like a really nice beer, and I'm getting a lot of the raspberry and blueberry characters coming off this, as you would expect. You can just smell that just kind of circulating around here. I think it's mainly the blueberries, right enough, that are coming off, because raspberries of course come across as quite a bit more tart than blueberry. So I definitely think it's more of a blueberry aroma that's coming out of this one, but it looks lovely. If I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can't really see anything through it just because of how opaque the beer is, but it's got a lovely kind of red edge to it there. There's about a, as you saw, the head was quite big, but it's faded away. It's about a 3/4 or 2/3 finger of a frothy, kind of pinky, slightly violet-y colour head on this one. It's the same colour as Pander Violet Sweets that we get back home. Really kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but it's kind of a pinkish violet colour, but it looks very, very nice, and some of the aromas that are coming off this do smell lovely. So let's have a closer look at the aroma with this one then and see how we get on. Yeah, you know, without sugaring the beer up, it really is, for me it's the blueberry that's dominating a little bit. You can get a little bit of the sharp character. You can get a little bit of that sharp character from the raspberry, the very tart notes that you get from raspberry. But I'm getting a bit more initially of the blueberry, although when my nose is starting to adjust to it a bit more, I'm getting more of the raspberry as well. And you can smell that kind of really sharp, kind of tart character from the lemony citric notes in the beer as well. When you sugar it up a little bit more, you can pick up a sort of, there is an element of a kind of slightly boozy caramel thing, but that's quite minimal. Of course, the Brettanomyces notes, those big sharp citricy notes, they really do dominate the aroma with this one, and the blueberries and raspberries of course. When you sugar the beer, I'm finding that the blueberry is becoming a bit more prominent, and you get the raspberry just a little bit later. But you can smell some nice boozy kind of caramel notes to this one, the big boozy malt base. I think there's a sort of woody, kind of almost woody, maybe slightly nutty thing, maybe more of a woody character actually, coming out of this beer as well. The aroma on this one, I should say, isn't too complex, but it's really the raspberries and blueberries that are absolutely dominating it. So it's a really nice, interesting beer, this one. If you get this, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of it before you get stuck in. It's hard to believe from the aroma that it is 13%. But it probably will be a bit of a beast. So yeah, let's get stuck into this one then. That's enough about the aroma. So this one is the Queenäs Quad, a 13% barley wine ale with blueberries and raspberries added to the brew from Brekeriet in Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden. Skål. Ooh. Now that is quite interesting. It's got a lot of kind of English barley wine character to it. It's not quite as sharp and tart as I was expecting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say with this one, because it's quite apparent when you try this that it is quite a boozy beer. You do get a good bit of alcohol warmth just down here, and it's interesting because on the aftertaste I'm getting a good bit of an almost earthy kind of herbal thing. I think the base they've used in this one is intended to be a sort of English style barley wine rather than the very sweet American barley wines. The American, as is the case with most American takes, most of the New World takes on the Old World styles, the American ones are always just a little bit more sugary and sweet, but to me this comes across with a lot more of an earthy and kind of herbal undernote to it. But I like it. I have to admit, I do quite like this beer. It does take your mouth. It's fair to say with this one, you have to have a few sips of it to really appreciate what this beer is going for. But as I always say with these bigger alcohol beers, just sugar it around your palate and let the whole mouth adjust to it before you analyse the flavour too much. But it's really interesting how the flavours in this one come together. So yeah, the middle of your palate in this one, of course, that's where the malts come out. You can feel a slightly bready character to it, but it's more woody. Like, it starts to progress into a more kind of woody, almost kind of, it reminds me a little bit of some of these bamboo things that I've eaten over in Japan actually. It has this kind of quite unusual, slightly woody, herbal sort of thing going on with it. It reminds me of that a little bit, just some of the Japanese food things that I've had, so it's quite interesting in that regard. But there's a good little bit of a kind of caramelly, a sort of darker caramelly sweetness to this one, but it's unusual in that it has that kind of herbal and earthy character as well. I can feel the herbal and earthy character just pushing its way out towards the edge of my tongue, which is quite interesting. It's a very unusual combination of flavour, this beer. I think there's a wee bit of sediment in this, so we'll put the rest of it in and just see. Yeah, you can see bits of sediment just coming out of the beer there. But we'll put the rest of it in and see if that affects the flavour, because obviously you do, in some ways you do get almost two different beers if you leave the sediment out. Yeah, that's interesting, that, because with this one, once you put that sediment in it, and even as quickly as that, the flavour has changed slightly in this one. It has become a bit more sweet. And it may well just be as the beer warms up a little bit that you get more and more of this sweetness coming out. There is a caramelly sweetness to this one, like I was saying. There's a bit of toasted, I don't think it's quite as dark as treacle or molasses. There's definitely a toasted caramelly element to this beer, and there's some sort of herbal and earthy characters mixed in there as well. Around the front curve of the palate, it comes across as quite kind of grassy. There's a little bit of grassiness, sort of grassy hoppy character to this beer. But the citricy, the sort of tart characters that you normally expect from a sour beer are definitely there as well. You can feel that sharp citricy character around the front part of your tongue there. You can feel that. But it's interesting with this because the beer starts off and there's quite a bit of the tartness from the raspberry, but then the blueberries come in. And the blueberries just kind of start to wash away a little bit of that tartness with the kind of sweet character that they have. I have to admit, blueberry juice is one of my favourite kind of fruit juices that I'm going to have. Raspberry, I do like raspberries, but I do tend to find them just a little bit tart for my taste sometimes. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that when you have the beer on your tongue, you'll feel just a little bit of tart character coming out from the raspberries. And then it just starts to smooth out and you feel the blueberries just pushing their way out a little bit, and you get more of a juicy character coming out of the beer there. But this is a really interesting it's a really interesting combination of flavours, this one. I'll say straight away with this, you know, in terms of sour character, it's not the one that's going to just it's not going to blow your head in terms of the tartness that it has. It's not going to blow your head in terms of sweetness. This one really for me is more of an interesting combination of flavours, and that's why I like Brekeriet. They're not scared to try different things. There's so many breweries that will just kind of stick to what they know and won't try new things. I have to admit with this beer, one of the things I would point out about this, when it was a quad, when it was called Queenäs Quad, I was expecting a Belgian style quadrupel, and some of the character in this beer does remind me of that a little bit, although it's got the sour character, of course. So it does have some of the characteristics you'd expect of a Belgian quad, and I do wonder if there is some sort of relation between the barley wine and the Belgian quads. I honestly don't know about that, but it's just something that I've thought of when I'm filming the video, and I thought I'd mention. But for me, it's a really interesting blend of flavours, and if you want something unusual, you know, this is a beer, if you like trying things that are different, then this is one you want to go for. But if you're expecting a kind of straight up barley wine, then this beer I don't think is going to hit the note for you. There's some sort of English barley wine character in this one, like I was saying, the sort of herbal and floral aspects of the beer. But other than that, it really is. It's quite nice and it's quite interesting. So if you like raspberries and you like blueberries, you're going to enjoy this one. But they dominate the flavour, although you do have a little bit of that big boozy malt base just backing this one up. So in terms of something unusual for me, it is really interesting. In terms of the rating it has on Rate Beer, like I said, it only had 76. I think that's a bit low for this beer, but Brekeriet always produce pretty good stuff. This one for me, it's maybe not quite as good as some of the other Brekeriet beers I've had. I think it's fair to say that, but it's nowhere near as low as a 76. You know, it should be up in the kind of, for me it should be in the lower 90s probably. That's probably a better region for this beer to come out at when it comes to Rate Beer. But of course, you know, Rate Beer is a good barometer for a slight comparison, but you shouldn't take it as the be all and end all when it comes to rating beer. For me, this is nice, and one of the reasons that it's nice is because it's unusual, and that's what Brekeriet are kind of all about. But yeah, a really quite interesting one this, so if you get the chance to try it, have a go at it, because it certainly is quite different. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I'd say it's light to mid-bodied. I always find the Brekeriet beers are quite light-bodied in comparison to other things I drink, and maybe that's just me. I think with sour beers generally, I always tend to find them a little bit light-bodied. Carbonation on this one is quite fine. It really doesn't have much carbonation to it at all. The mouthfeel on this one is somewhere between oily and wet. I think it leans more towards the wet side of things than oily, if I'm honest. The hoppy character to this one, there is a little bit of dryness to the beer as you progress into the aftertaste, but there's not that much hoppy character to this one at all. A wee bit of earthiness in the back corners, like I said, and some grassiness around the other parts of the beer. You can pick up a little bit of that sharp, tart character. There's a good bit of juicy fruit in this one. Some tartness, of course, though, from the raspberries, and there's a little bit of sweetness from the malt base in this one, as you would expect with a barley wine. But there is a good bit of alcohol warmth to this, and when it's 13%, you know, that is something that is to be expected. But overall, it's a really interesting and quite unusual beer, and that's what you expect from Brekeriet, so they've done their job again. So yeah, the Queenäs Quad from Brekeriet in Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden. So if you get the chance to try this beer, have a go at it. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. But until the next time, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you're looking forward to review number 1000 tomorrow. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below, and let me know what your favourite beers are from Brekeriet, because these guys are always producing different things. They don't seem to have such a common core range, if you like. But do let me know some of the other beers that you would like to see me review from these guys, because there's quite a few of them available here now in Sweden. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you tomorrow with review 1000. Skål.